We're honored and happy to have you all here with us today. We are doing the Fashion Tech Pitch Night organized by the Startup Club. And while we wait for everyone to join, you're welcome to write down your contact information and details and a short bio in the chat and begin to network with everyone and the other attendees. Like I mentioned, my colleague and co-host Matilda will be sharing the schedule and links to the pitch decks of the startups that are joining us today. Feel free to use the general chat or the private messaging function to ask any questions you have to the startups as well and to interact with our other attendees. So once again, welcome everyone to our event today. I'm Jen Lully. I'm going to be moderating. I work a little bit about me. I work in finance. I own my own fashion brand for a sustainable company as well. And I co-host events for the Startup Club, organize here and help introduce advisors and investors to selected startups during these online events. So now just a short bio on the Startup Club. We are a one-stop shop for the global entrepreneur community. Our vision is to assist startups, scale-ups, and growing companies in their fundraising and development needs by connecting entrepreneurs with investors, advisors, mentors, and other key players in the startup ecosystem internationally through a series of international pitch night events and investor networking conferences. In 2022, we hosted over 50 successful events and workshops, and we're happy to count over 70,000 members in our online network. We host events on various topics such as green tech, health tech, fintech, valuation workshops, and we're planning to expand to other industries in 2023. We offer other services as well, such as valuation reports, pitch deck reviews, promotion packages, and our events and services are listed holistically on our website. You're welcome to check it out and reach out to us if you'd like to get more information. But on to today, I'm happy to introduce you to the two amazing fashion companies that we have pitching. The first one is ModaMatch. They're going to be presented by James Bloomfield, and they're a Canadian-based company, technology solutions for the future of apparel. And then second, we have Studio 183 with the project's 500 kilograms of CO2, and they're going to be presented by Katrina Ryback, a German-based company. So now I'd like to introduce you to the format of the event. Each startup will have 7 minutes to pitch, followed by 15 minutes of feedback, questions from our advisors. And again, feel free, anyone can use the chat to ask questions to the presenters and to network during the event. So now I'd like to pause and introduce you to our advisory board, and the members of the board invite you to shortly introduce yourselves. Happy to have you all here today. We'll start, we have Isabelle Harvie-Watt from Cultus with us here tonight. Hi, Isabelle, glad to have you with us. You would mind introducing yourself? Isabelle?
Isabelle, maybe you're on mute?
Are you on mute?
Hello?
Hi, Isabelle. Yes, we can hear you now. Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay,
we can hear you.
Okay, good. Hi, how are you? So I'm just going to move.
Isabelle, when you're ready, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and introducing yourself for everyone?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I have, my background is fashion, branding, marketing, and communications. Just let me know if you can hear me properly. And yes, I spent 20 plus years working for big brands. I'm based in Milan. So I worked for Giorgio Armani, Versace, Tod's, Valentino, running marketing and communications for them globally. Well, I was more sort of I guess I was more of a CBO / CMO. And I also ran a media agency for 5 years in Italy, and a creative agency. So that's really my background, is branding, marketing, communications. I now have my own business. We consult, we do brand strategy, product strategy, go-to-market strategy, marketing communications. I have a business partner, and we've also done a number of, I've also made a number of investments, direct investments in startups in the fashion sector. Most of them either have a tech component or are doing something that should help businesses to become more sustainable in the future. So that's really the focus on the investment side. Anyway, it's very good to be here again today. Thank you, Matilda. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. We're honored to have you. And next, I'd like to introduce Claire at TATTERSALL. She's with us from Digital Fashion Week in New York.
Hi, yeah, so I am the founder of Digital Fashion Week. We're in New York, London, and we're opening in Paris as well in September. I'm also the curator of the Drip Boutique, which is our NFT marketplace. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm super excited to hear these two presentations as well today. They're super topical, super relevant, and I think really about to transform the fashion industry. So I'm very, very much looking forward to hearing what you have to tell us about your companies.
Thank you, Claire. Appreciate you. And last but not least, we have Eli Jacobson. He's with us from Smart Fashion Lab. Eli?
Yeah, hi everybody. Can you hear me well? Because I had some problem with my earphones. I hope everything is okay. So I'm Eli Jacobson. I'm based in Tel Aviv, Israel. I also used to be based in Milan. I had an office there working for basically American brands, Tommy Hilfiger, Guess, Gantt, Hitachi, Swatch. I have a lot of industrial design background, and already for many years I'm dealing with smart fabrics and wearable computing and fashion tech. And we're developing all these things for small companies, startup, teaching corporates how to innovation, everything that's underneath the umbrella of innovation, entrepreneurship. We try to be there and learn, and I'm always happy to be part of the startup club and hear about new companies, new technology, and learn and participate. So thank you for the invitation, and really happy to meet everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for the presentations and introductions. Now, without further delay, we can move right along into the first pitch. ModaMatch, I would like to give you the floor and the opportunity to present. You want to share your screen and start your pitch? And good luck.
All right, thank you very much. It's great pleasure to be here. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's just hope that everything works the way it's supposed to. So please stand by. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Yofi. Okay, so I will wait for the nod for my time to start, or shall I just dive right in?
All yours.
Okay, fantastic. Well, hello, I won't say good evening because I know we're all coming in from different places. My name is James Bloomfield, and I am the co-founder and CEO of the fashion technology company ModaMatch. It's great to have the opportunity to speak at this event, and I just want to say a quick thank you to all the judges and the moderators, and for all of you out there listening. You know, I've really been looking forward to this. So, without further ado, ModaMatch is a Canadian company that was founded over 4 years ago with a goal to bring AI technology to the fashion industry. Last year, we formed a joint venture with an Israeli fashion startup company called StyleTech to now offer 2 premium solutions to the industry. a virtual fitting room for customer engagement, and a digital modeling service. Our goal is nothing less than the complete disruption of fashion images, how they are created, and how shoppers interact with them. The fashion industry is massive, with the global fashion market being valued at over $1.5 trillion. And yet it deals with numerous costly pain points, outmoded practices, and is often slow in its adoption of new technologies. Some of the biggest pain points include sky-high return rates, which cost the industry billions of dollars, laborsome, time-consuming, and inefficient photo shoots, as well as a disturbingly high environmental impact. But with ModaMatch AI-powered solutions, we are in a position to finally make these issues a thing of the past. Our first solution is our digital modeling service. Through generative AI trained on our proprietary database and in combination with machine learning algorithms, we are now able to produce photorealistic images of models wearing items without the need for a photo shoot. We can accept a variety of inputs from our customers, from a short 10-second video to a digital design assets, to produce images to fit all needs, from studio images to lifestyle editorial content to pack shots and more. And some examples of our work. As you can see, this is a mannequin shot in the back of a boutique, and they sent us this small 10-second video, and these were the images that we delivered back to them. They asked for a very specific supermodel look, and we were very, very pleased with what we were able to deliver as they worked to receive them. We can also work on human models. They don't have to be anyone professional. This was actually a sales associate taken from the floor to just show off this jacket. And as you can see, we were able to produce a variety of lifestyle and studio images for them. And we were also capable of working off of digital assets. So we can work off of vector files and other design assets to produce these kinds of photorealistic images without the need for the item to even be created. We can work off of, as you can see, we're capable of producing high quality images for every need with no limitations in terms of age, gender, ethnicity, pose, or background. These images are produced quickly, accurately, are customizable, and come at a hugely reduced cost from traditional photo shoots. In addition, in contrast to photo shoots today, which are governed by strict image release agreements with models and agencies, because all of our models are digital and we sell the images themselves to customers, they can be used for an unlimited duration across any channel, whether it be for social media, marketing, catalogs, website, or really anything of the customer's choosing. As such, our images represent a better service than traditional photo shoots across essentially every metric. The use cases for our digital models are tremendous and can be used across the fashion industry. Some examples include the empowerment of designers to have items shown on models from a single sample item. The same can be said for manufacturers who can have single items from a single item auto-generate catalogs of diverse models wearing the item. For brands and retailers, they can use our service to supplement their current models or eliminate photo shoots entirely. And for smaller companies that don't have the budget for photo shoots, they can now have beautiful images at a price point that they can afford with models of their choosing, which really allows for great flexibility in terms of model diversity and inclusivity. And these are just some of the myriad of ways that our digital models can provide value. Our digital models are also used to power our second solution, a plug-in white label virtual fitting room. Easy and convenient to implement, the ModaMatch virtual fitting room allows shoppers to do their online shopping in a whole new way, one that is interactive, engaging, accurate, and fun. Shoppers can choose from a wide selection of models and accurately see how those items will look and fit, which are the two biggest drivers of return rates. These returns represent one of the most costly and environmentally damaging aspects of global fashion. So any decrease in returns means less money loss and less damage to the planet. In fact, last year, we won the Sustainable Fashion Tech Revolutionary Challenge at a large startup competition in Israel called the Climate Solutions Prize. Our virtual fitting room offers numerous value adds, and clients who have used this service have also seen increases in other valuable KPIs such as conversions, total order value, average order value, click rate, and time on site. Both of our solutions are in market and have been yielding very strong results and really, really positive feedback. There is competition in our space in terms of both virtual fitting rooms and digital models, but we differentiate ourselves in a number of ways. Chief competitive advantage is the proprietary database that our AI is trained on. Our dual services also mean that we are in a position to act as a one-stop shop for our customers in terms of their technological needs. Some other differentiators include our ease of onboarding, as well as our emphasis on lifestyle imagery, which sets us apart from many competitors who focus more on studio images. Our current sales model, it differs between the two solutions, with our digital modeling solution sold on a flat per image fee structure, while our virtual fitting room is a SaaS model with price points based on the number of SKUs hosted. We have an extremely ambitious growth strategy, which is currently focused on building our brand awareness and customer base. As we continue to grow, we plan to target every sector of the fashion apparel space, including manufacturers, designers, wholesalers, and resellers, in addition to brands and retailers of every size. We are lucky to have a fantastically passionate and capable management team who all have high-level experience in their areas. Our tech team in particular, based in Tel Aviv, Israel, works on the absolute cutting edge of AI technologies that our solutions are based on. Our advisory team, who are all investors, bring a huge amount of expertise and experience to the table, and includes a former Google director, high-level and accomplished finance and marketing specialist, as well as Hershey Siegel, who previously founded one of Canada's largest apparel retail companies called Le Chateau. In conclusion, ModaMatch has the technology, the experience, and the knowledge to reshape the fashion industry. And while it might not be very Canadian of me to say this, we don't consider it a question of if, we consider it a question of when. So thanks very much, and I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation, and now we will shift to the board, hear their thoughts. Let's start with Claire.
I'm sorry, I can't hear Claire, if that's just me.
Sorry. Hi, great presentation.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm really excited about what you're doing here, especially the virtual fitting room. I absolutely think this is, the answer to so many environmental issues for fashion. We can obviously see huge drops in return rates. I have some questions for you. I'm not 100% clear on your digital modeling. So are your models, have you created your models through digital modeling, or it's AI kind of like scraping, sorry to use this term, but scraping from the internet?
We don't scrape from the internet. Oh, I'm sorry, I might have cut you off there at the end. Was there a little, we do not scrape. In fact, as I mentioned, our our models are generated via AI, and the basis for that is a proprietary database that we created in-house. So we don't deal with any kinds of potential problems with usage of people's images from the net, which some other companies have gotten into some trouble with.
Okay, great. So you're addressing the IP issues for that. Fantastic. So and are you creating any models yourself? You'd sort of talked about digital modeling, but it's all AI generated from.
That's correct.
From your database. Okay, and with in the virtual fitting room, it looked like a less realistic model. Am I correct in thinking?
In fact, I don't want to say you're not correct, but it's in fact the opposite. That model that you actually saw in the virtual fitting room is a real person that we shot for display purposes.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Yes. And so, did you collect data? And I'm interested to hear your perspective on this about having a model that's similar to yourself versus having your actual self in the fitting room.
I'm sorry, you cut out. I couldn't hear just the beginning of the question. I heard the end of it though. Do you mind just repeating the beginning?
Sure. So did you look at the difference between actually having a model that's similar to yourself? And I've had a lot of different perspectives on this. So having a model that's similar to yourself versus actually having yourself in the
very much so. It was a a really incredible and somewhat confusing learning experience for us because we, on face value, it might seem as though everybody would want to dress an image of themselves. I mean, that just sort of makes sense, right? But in fact, when you are testing, when you are showing people, and this exists across genders, but we've seen a little bit more of a propensity towards it with female shoppers, is that they are uncomfortable about the idea of dressing an image of themselves. They'd rather somebody who is a little bit more aspirational, maybe a size smaller. And we did considerable focus groups and market testing to come to these conclusions. Additionally, in order to allow people to dress an image of themselves, you need to actually have an image of them. Partially clothed would be best so that you can actually see what it looks like on them. And with Gen Z and millennial shoppers in particular, the idea of uploading a partially clothed image of yourself to a third party is, there are significant problems with it and pushback in terms of privacy, especially.
Okay, so how does this address actual fit? Because obviously the goal is to not have returns, so fit is the key issue here. Mm-hmm.
Fit and aesthetic is what we've seen as the major drivers, and the virtual fitting room does have the ability has an input where you can put in your own measurements, and we will select a model that is closest to your body type. Again, you can choose whatever model you want. We don't want to be in a position where we're telling people, and I could tell a small anecdote here where a young woman who was testing with us chose a model that was considerably smaller, thinner than herself. And she was talking about, by summertime, I'm going on my summer diet and this is how I'm going to look. And I'm already buying for that. So the idea that we can show what it looks like on somebody of a similar body type means that we can speak to those concerns of fit. And the idea of aesthetic is obviously readily addressed through seeing it so accurately in front of you. You can change the size of the item and it will change in real time on the model in front of you. You can change the color, you can mix and match, and you can really interact with that shopping experience in a very engaging manner.
Okay, and are you working with digital assets, or you work from photographs of the garments?
We can work.
You showed us an example of a video that you were transposing, but
the most optimal way that we can work is with a short 10-second video where we simply see the item in 360, which allows our AI to very, very comprehensively process and digitize the item in question. But we can also work off of digital assets as well.
Okay, and just sort of, do you have any thoughts about working with items that are purely digital? I can see you're very much rooted in the physical, traditional fashion industry, but the digital industry is growing enormously. And, I think we should look at everything really from a digital perspective. But I just wondered what your thoughts are with this and using it for digital assets as well.
So we could produce photorealistic imagery from digital assets that are sent to us. And there was an example within the presentation of a vector file that we had received and made some lifestyle imagery from it. But I'm not sure if you're referring to more metaverse digital fashion. Is that also kind of what you're touching on?
Well, yes. And no, there is a lot of interest in photo dressing. For Instagram, etc. That's where a lot of, largely up until this, relatively recently, a lot of the digital fashion has been for photo dressing. And there is a market for that as well. So looking at using it, in the future, in the metaverse, but also for how we can use digital assets, or if you're really leaning entirely on the physical fashion industry. And there's no right answer to this.
We're currently leaning on based in reality is what we're targeting currently. But as mentioned, we have a very ambitious growth strategy. We are well aware of the use cases and just how wide a space that is. And so we are willing to explore any opportunity that we think will yield strong results for us.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. It's really exciting what you're doing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your questions.
Thank you so much, Claire. I appreciate that. And we'll go to Eli next. Love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, hi James. Thank you very much for your presentation. I think you're a good presenter, so it's a very good bonus because I hear a lot of presentation and you're very clear. So I enjoyed the presentation.
Thank you
It
very
seems
much.
like you're doing a lot of things in the digital, physical, phygital, you know, all these spaces. I do know you have a strong competition, you know, starting from Zikit, which I know you know them, and you know a lot of others like TrueFit, Mitel. There's a lot of competition, you know. In the last six months is the, you know, all the Chat GPT and AI generated modeling and whatever. So you know what once used to be very difficult technology wise, now it's becoming easier. So you know there's a lot of competition. So there's one thought that I have, maybe, you know, question, how do you intend of dealing with it? Because the market, you know, from one side there's a big opportunity because it's new, but there is strong competition and almost all companies are going to direction. The other question, Claire, I think talked about it a little bit. There's a big difference between digital modeling that, you know, I can do today probably very easy, but I can do 10 or 20 models and everything will fit good. But what happens once I have to manufacture these things? I can't manufacture, you know, custom made for each model physical if I will want to produce this clothes. So, you know, I'm following up a little bit on Claire's thoughts, I think, because you want to, at the end, produce custom items for people, which the item will fit them exactly, which is a lot of, you know, a lot of work and a lot of effort. Or do you want to concentrate on the, you know, the digital space, or the real, that, you know, you're going to real modeling, digital phase? Where are you where's your concentration? You know, where are you focused?
So to answer your second question first, you know, as I mentioned to Claire, we are focusing on the physical space currently. And in terms of actual fit, it is very problematic. And, you know, I'd love to give you a silver bullet, but unfortunately, due to the way that fashion items are produced, it comes from, you know, abroad. There's in some cases limited quality control and assurance. You know, something is ordered and you think it's going to be X, but it's in fact Y in terms of sizing, in terms of stitching, in terms of the variables that go into it. And so
that's
you know,
my life. So, you know.
Yeah. and so we try to work with people who, you know, that's less of a concern. And for everyone else, we count on professionals such as yourself to help streamline and make that process a little bit more efficient. And then to circle back to your initial question, we are very familiar with
sorry for disrupting, but my question was like this. I'll try to be clear. If I have an item like the coat with the dots that you showed, so
yes.
whoever will go online and choose himself as a model or a digital model, the coat will look great on him, but I can have 10 digital sizes or 20 digital sizes in one click, everything will look perfect. But if I will have to produce 10 or 20 sizes, so it's an effort that, you know, the industry cannot deal with, because the industry knows how to produce 4 sizes, maybe 5 sizes, you know, that's it, small, medium, large. But once I try clothes digitally, you know, everything will look great on everybody, but it's not the reality.
Well, I mean, we can take, say, if we're going to take that, one of the examples of the mannequin input that I showed in my presentation, if that store were to take the 3 bathing suits, and this is in fact what they did, they had a small, medium, and large. They showed it on a small, medium, and large mannequins, and we produced a couple thousand images of each of the sizes on each that were very accurate. And literally it took them about 60 seconds to get it all done in terms of just putting it on the mannequin. They had one stylist there who was able to make it look the way that they wanted it to. They sent us a 360 video and there was their entire, you know, all the images for that item were in hand. I hope that answered your question a little bit more
Yes, it does make it more clear, but you know, I'm dealing with how do you really check it between you can't check like really the 600 versions that I have digital ones with real models. It's like, this is the time we're dealing it, because everything looks great, but the physical world, it's
I
not like you
understand.
said. There's production issues that always you have to take care, and then if you have a frustrated client, it's a big problem. What you
Eli,
see is
I know
everything looks
exactly
good
what you
online.
mean.
Yeah.
I know exactly
So
what you mean, and maybe what we should do, because I could sit here and
mhm.
talk to you about this
Yeah.
for hours. So maybe we should connect after this, and we can delve into this
Yeah.
issue in a little bit more
Okay.
detail.
So a little bit about the competition. I'm interested
Yes,
in.
I mean, it is a competitive space, but the reality is that people have been trying to introduce new tech solutions to the fashion space for the better part of 25 years, more by and large unsuccessfully, and that's for all the due to all the variables that take place, some of which we've actually just spoken about, and so I often describe the space as a little bit like the Wild West. We all have our own technologies. We all have our own UX UI. We have our own approach. We have our own understanding of where we can have the biggest impact. You mentioned a company, some of the companies you mentioned, for instance, Zkit, their emphasis was on their virtual fitting room. And in fact, curiously enough, CLARE, this is actually based on your comment, they focused on images of their shoppers, and when they came to market, I mean, they were bought by Walmart for I believe it was last year, and they received immediate backlash when they came to market about people's discomfort with uploading images of themselves. But they stayed on that path. And Metail, for instance, it requires you to you put your phone and you spin. It's a fairly laborsome onboarding process, and I could go through each competitor within the space and pick and choose the advantages and disadvantages of each approach, but it's really going to be the solution that's going to make it and redefine the space is going to be the one that is the easiest and most convenient and most seamless for brands and retailers in the fashion apparel space to use, and actually be the most impactful and connect with the end user shopper. And marrying those two is a lot easier said than done.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Okay, and lastly, we'll hear from Isabelle. Like to come off and ask questions.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. And I obviously all the questions so far have been super pertinent. I wanted to add a couple of things. One, just to finish this discussion around the virtual fitting room, because I think that we know from research that women and men, I mean, but mostly women don't see themselves in the way that they actually are. So, if a woman has a pear shape, she doesn't see herself as having a pear shape. So I think that when we're really talking about how do you tackle the biggest issue, certainly from an environmental standpoint, which is returns, but also from a business standpoint, I think, obviously, people don't want to upload images of themselves, and we know from the research that they see themselves differently. But I think that the key to the solution would be, people being able to, when you say you can upload your measurements, would be getting people to upload their measurements, and then using that AI to give them the size that is most appropriate for their body type, based on their measurements. Because otherwise, yes, I mean, you're not really going to solve that problem. It's not going to really make a difference. That was my first question. And then my second question is more with a brand hat on. If you really want to work with fashion and luxury brands, the quality of that imagery is going to have to be, personally, I think, that's the bit that's missing for me. That quality has got to be better. Not just better in terms of being able to see the fabric or the details, but also in terms of just sort of, desirability, from a desirability standpoint.
I completely agree with you in terms of luxury fashion, but one of the most amazing parts about working with technology that is so heavily based off of AI is watching the progression of the technology. It happens so quickly. It doesn't happen sequentially so much as it's exponential how fast it advances. And so I could show you images that we were producing a month ago versus this month, and
Okay.
you would the change in quality is
It's
evident
phenomenal.
and phenomenal, and it's a little bit, it's almost disconcerting just to some people as they see it. And so, you know, by next month and the following month and within the next 6 months, I'm, as a specialist within the space, it's already starting to become a little bit difficult for me to tell the difference. And we are quickly arriving at a place where it will be essentially impossible to tell the difference.
Okay.
And in terms of your first question regarding returns, you know, we've seen the clients that we've launched with, we have seen a reduction rate of return. So, I mean, we're satisfied that we are able to at least partially address some of those problems. It is a complex issue, and you yourself brought up a really good point, these ideas of self-perception, body dysmorphia. I mean, it's really, really complex and conflicting, but fascinating space. And so by giving people a range of models, and that's in fact why we gave them a range of models, was not only to get around the privacy problems, but also to say, listen, you choose whatever you feel comfortable with, and that's what you can dress. And the idea of, and if I understood the question correctly, the idea of potentially uploading your measurements and having the model resemble your measurements exactly is does not speak to that issue that we just mentioned, and B, the more alterations you do to the image itself, it's harder to maintain that level of realism. It looks a little bit more digital the more changes you do to it. But again, the technology that we use advances so quickly that that will be something that we're capable of in the very near future.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Those were my two main questions. I think everything else was answered, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both again. And really great presentation, James. Congratulations. And feel free to reach out to him, continuing after the event, everyone, and network. But now we'll switch over to our next startup, and we're going to hear from Studio 183, who has the project's 500 kilogram CO2. And this is going to be presented by Katrina Ryback. She's from a German-based company. And they're doing an experimental pop-up show and now transforming into a boutique retail concept, and all working on upcycling your wardrobe from home. So Katrina, if you want to go ahead and share, I know we are starting with a video for your pitch. Mathilde, if you want to go ahead and share that, I really appreciate it. Wonderful.
Hi, I'm Katrina, owner and founder of Studio 183 Berlin, a platform for independent designers and artists. We've been running our concept here in Bikini Berlin since 2015. Currently, we work with 50 designers from various backgrounds. 40% of our designers work with upcycling techniques. So I'm sure you're aware of the fact that annually 92 billion tons of textile waste is created. We have to change the way we consume fashion. With that in mind, and being surrounded by clothing all the time, I was going through my closet last year on a Saturday night at home, and I was finding pieces that I no longer wear, I haven't gotten rid of yet. It would be great if I could upcycle them, but I don't know how. I don't think upcycling is very accessible. So that's when the idea for the app 500 Kilos CO2 came to life. So why the name 500 Kilos CO2? According to research, reusing 1 kilo of textile saves 25 kilos of CO2. And why the app? So I can upcycle my wardrobe. And with this concept, we received prize money from the Berlin Senate and created the beta version of the app. We presented this during Berlin Fashion Week in January, and I would love to show it to you now. I'm going to bring you to our digital upcycling station. Here we go. This is the interface of the app. The designs you see are templates provided to us by Studio 183 designers. And the clothing you see here is our secondhand library that we can use for upcycling. So let's get started. I'm going to select the skirt. The app asks me to input 3 garments of choice, so 3 secondhand garments. And there's the skirt. I can rotate it. I can mix the materials. And I can try it on. And if I like it, I can order it. Okay, so thank you for watching the first part of the presentation. I'm going to share my pitch deck with you. Okay, so yeah, that's the prototype or the beta version of the app that we presented. And about the business model, the idea is that it's B2B and B2C. So it's basically an extension of our current concept. So it's a platform for designers that pay a participation fee, and then there's a commission per sale or per order. And for our market adoption, we would activate our current customer base, but then depending on the cities, we could partner with the various fashion weeks and also with our current partnerships like Fashion Council Germany or design hotels like 25 Hours Hotels. And social media marketing would also be very important for us, especially targeting influencers, because influencers receive lots of garments. So it would be great for them to upcycle. And since we're also going into AR, a future potential partnership could be Snapchat, since we're then also targeting Gen Z. So we've been doing customer research. We were doing focus groups and usability tests and customer interviews. And who is our customer? Our customer is late Gen Z, millennial, and boomer until approximately 65 years of age. They're living in metropolitan cities. They have a higher educational background. They're fashion forward and conscious consumers. So who is our competition? Vinted, Depop, Etsy. And just recently, last year, Revive emerged. That's a Paris-based startup. They received 120K in pre-seed, and they've just started a partnership with H&M, and they have a platform that's only for upcycling designers. So that's very close to what we're focusing on. But the difference is that we're empowering the consumer to change the way we approach buying fashion. So basically, we're taking the resources from our own home, from our own wardrobe, and co-creating new pieces out of those items. And then we're also implementing, hopefully soon, newest technologies so that it's also easy to use for the consumer and maybe has like a gamifying aspect if we're targeting Gen Z. So this is our team at the moment. I have to say we're missing the tech team, which is of course really important since we're developing technology. But we have a great advisory board, and yeah, so this is where we are now. We've had some features in the press since after our presentation in January during Berlin Fashion Week. Here we have some user testimonials who've had their garments upcycled. And what are our goals? Well, we would love to launch this year in Berlin, and quite ambitiously by next year, the end of next year, we'd like to have 1,000 paying designers in the subscription model.
And we'd like to have 150,000 orders placed and 500,000 registered users. And then upon successful rollout in Berlin, we would target other metropolitan cities where there's a good product to market fit, where we also have customers and contacts. So that would be New York, Tokyo, Paris, and London. And yeah, so our projections are quite, I mean, we're reaching quite high, but I think the project has a lot of potential. So we're hoping to achieve 9 million in net profit after the first year, but we shall see. And for our first round of investment, we're looking to raise 400K so we can work on the technological developments and we can roll out this year in Berlin. So this was the presentation. I would like to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to present here and for sharing my vision of the future of fashion in a digital age.
Thank you so much, Katrina. Great presentation and for sharing more about your company. And let's gear over to our board. And first, like to hear from Isabelle this time.
Okay, thank you so much. That was great. I have a lot of questions, to be honest, because I'm not sure I understood everything correctly. So Studio 183 Berlin is a showroom, essentially. Is that right?
No, sorry. We're a retail and promotional platform for independent designers. So we have a physical retail space and designers pay a participation fee to be part of the shop. And then we take a commission per sale. And we've been running with this since 2015.
Okay, perfect. And this is for, you know, emerging designers or global international designers. Okay. And so then how do I'm not sure how, I just wanted to understand how the upcycling actually works. So basically I have a skirt, I bring it to you, I say, I'd like to have this upcycled and into something else.
Not
basically. Okay, because I didn't understand how that exactly works. Whose secondhand clothes are those and how does it work? And why is it? Okay.
Yeah, those are good questions. I'm sorry, then I didn't present that very well. But the idea is that there's an app so that you can use this from home. So, and there are different design templates. So let's say you select a design template that's a skirt. And to create that skirt, the app asks you to input 3 different garments. And then you take photos of those 3 garments and then it upcycles it in the app for you. And then
who makes it?
Yeah, then the idea is that through green logistics, the items are collected from your home and brought to a designer's atelier. And then the pieces are upcycled there. So
okay, so 3 garments to make that one skirt, essentially.
Yeah.
And how do you know? Because how do you know? Because I know obviously it's, you know, you have to break down the fibers, the fabrics, and how do you know that you can do all that from a picture on an app? How do you know that you're going to be able to get a skirt out of the other 3 garments without actually seeing those garments?
Well, we're trying to focus more on, that we're going to filter it more than, so let's say to create a skirt, it will tell you to input 3 denims, 3 pairs of pants, let's say, for example.
Okay.
So that we can know which materials will suit which sort of design template, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, so there's a number of different things that you need to input in there before you understand whether you can actually upcycle it, because I think that's the thing, is you don't know. I mean, yes, denim is an obvious one because it's fairly easy to.
Yeah, or let's say for a dress, it'll tell you to input 3 shirts. These are just examples where the app will ask you to input certain items to create something out of that.
Okay, and then the customer, this is for the B2C side, sends it to or it gets picked up and taken to the atelier. And so, okay, so and then the atelier takes care of upcycling it. But that sounds great, but it's sounds difficult to scale. Certainly the B2C side sounds difficult to scale. On the B2B side, I was wondering, how does it work then? How does it work on the B2B side exactly?
The B2B side, so if I'm a designer and I would like to be featured via the platform, I provide my designs, and we would then make them into 3D renders, and we put them on the platform. Then if a user orders my design, then I receive a commission per sale. And I pay, let's say, 190 euros a month that I'm featured on the platform. There's the name of my brand there.
Okay, so the B2B side is just for designers that are already producing upcycled clothes.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm just having a trouble understanding that. Okay, so if on the B2B side, if you have upcycled clothing, you can put it on the platform. But then how does it work on you also can pay for people to send things in? Again, how does it work? I don't understand how the I don't understand how the B2B side works. So maybe I'm being a bit slow, but
that the designers provide the template, so they provide their design.
Okay.
Patterns of the design.
Yeah.
And that's created in Clo 3D. There's a 3D render of it in the app.
Yes.
Yeah, and the designer is credited and their design is there. And then once a customer places an order for that design, then they receive a commission per sale.
Okay. Okay, so it's not not designed to facilitate take back. It's designed to facilitate selling upcycled clothing, basically.
It's that you upcycle items from your own wardrobe based on design templates in the app.
Okay. So it's still B2C.
It's B2C and B2C. The B2B is that the designers pay to be featured on this platform, that their designs can be chosen. And once they're ordered, then they receive a commission. That's the B2B.
Okay.
So that they have an extra stream of income through being on the platform.
Okay.
If their designs are ordered.
Right. Okay. So I think, yeah, sorry, so many questions, but I do think, it's, I mean, obviously, you've got some great ideas here. I do think it's important, and maybe it's just me that was not able to understand, but I think that you need to be clearer, if I may, in how you explain it, because it's sort of more complex than.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess, yeah, this is my first time pitching as well. So
okay. Oh, well, okay.
And I've been dealing with this topic for a while, so I guess for me everything's clear, but
yes,
not clear, obviously.
Not clear so much to other people. But thank you very much. I'll let the others ask their questions now. Thank you.
Thank you both. And I would love to just let's hear from Claire next.
Thank you. Hi. So Isabelle, great questions. So really good presentation. I think you've got a great idea. I love where you're going with it. So I just want to preface everything that I'm going to say and everything that I'm going to ask is coming from entirely a position of empathy. I did something relatively similar, but not with resale and upcycling, starting in 2009. And you have a lot of challenges ahead of you. I think it's very brave. So I started a vertical virtual production, with on-demand manufacturing in New York City here. And there are a lot of challenges. I think Isabelle touched on this as well in terms of different fabrics. So, if you've got a designer making a design, and how are your customers going to choose the fabric? Because like the skirt that you showed, if somebody makes that out of like really stretchy jersey or denim, it's an entirely different product and an entirely different fit.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, because we did focus groups with designers, and their feedback was that they would then like dictate what can be input to create that garment. So they would say you can only put in denim to produce that one item. You can only put in t-shirts for the other, etc.
And so will you have something like sort of a virtual database of like virtual swatches that you'll make that people can choose from these, or how are the fabrics selected? I'm not sure if you actually addressed that, and I'm just repeating.
They take, because they're capturing images of their own garments, and then that's upcycled in the 3D render, so then they can see it in the 3D render.
So the designer comes up with the template, the pattern for it, and the consumer wants their fabric to be made into this item.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And another question I have is, so I really applaud what you're trying to do from an environmental point of view, and that's really, really important for the fashion industry. But sounds like there's a lot of shipping going on back and forth here.
Well, yeah, that's why the idea is that it's only within areas. So let's say we'll start in Berlin as the pilot project, and then you can only order within the Berlin like metropolitan area, and that would be through green logistics. And then we target New York, Tokyo, these cities, so it's within the range of a city.
And who is making the items, the garments?
Seamstresses. So yeah, we're putting production units together then. So
okay.
Then there's production units and different ateliers. That's what I'm working on at the moment, actually, is figuring that out, because it's difficult.
It's difficult, and I completely understand it. As I said, I've been through this myself, and keeping your price point reasonable. Yeah. So on, where we are with on-demand manufacturing, which is essentially what you're doing, the price point is high, one item at a time. It is only fast fashion that's made offshore, in factories where people don't have good conditions. That is how prices are kept to very reasonable. So it is a challenge that you're going to struggle with it. So
well, we're not targeting the masses. I don't think that everyone is our customer. Like, I know who our customer is. Like, they are basically our current customers that consume like our fashion, which is traceable fashion. It's not cheap, it's quite expensive, it's unique design. So it's a niche customer.
So if it's traceable, are you, something maybe to think about as well as adding additional elements as well, like putting NFC chips in? I don't want to raise your prices on things further or add complications, but if you've got NFC chips, you can, that can help you with the transparency and showing where the items have come from, and create more storytelling with the garments as well. I think you have a lot of challenges, and I really applaud you for trying to break these down as well. Somebody has to break these down and make it workable. But I think something that will really help you is looking at your business model and making it really communicable. as
Mhm.
well. What is your message to designers? What is your message to the audience, to your consumers? And I think having those two really, really clear messages will help you a lot. I think you've got a great start. I think having the video, but I was still confused about some of the things, whether you were resale or how the upcycling would happen as well. But I think working on your communications will be of enormous value to you in the long run. But and just be aware you're going to come up with a lot of challenges and finding ways to overcome them. That is going to be your big task.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you both so much. And lastly, we'll hear from Eli.
Yes, thank you. So thank you, Catherine, for your presentation. And thank you, Claire and Isabel, for the harsh feedback, because there are some tough things to say, but you took a load off my back, so I appreciate it. So now, okay, let's start first of all with the good thing. I think, I've seen a lot of pitches and startups through the years, and the most interesting things are the things that I immediately think like, well, how is this going to be done? Because it's a big challenge. But I really hope that in a few years we'll be looking at something and saying, wow, this upscaling thing, I don't know how, but she really managed to do it digitally. Now it looks, I wouldn't say impossible, because I'm a positive thinker, and I think if you will be stubborn enough, you will be able to do it. But in the last comments you saw, I think your logistics is definitely the problem, because you can make anything. You can even stitch rubber to leather, whatever you want. You can find solutions. There's a big gap still. I told James in his last presentation, whatever you see on the app digitally doesn't necessarily work in the real world. Definitely not in upscaling. I love upscaling, and I have my sewing machine, and I upscale a lot of things. Most of them don't look perfect, but it's enough for me to wear, or I just give it to my daughters and make them wear it, whether they like it or not. No, but they love it, because it comes out a little crooked and something strange, and it's not like, the pret-a-porter that you have. And there's a lot of DIY sites, Blueprint, and with Wendy, I think they are the biggest site. They have millions of videos of DIY. And if I have to take something from my closet and ship it, and you have to do something with it, and you have to ship it back to me, it will cost a lot. I know the shipping, also the local postal shipping rates are so high. This is your main, it's not your main, it's one of the challenges. But to be optimistic, I have a few ideas. I think you're scaling, since you're in Berlin, there's a lot of really cool fashion events, and this is what I think, you don't have to do it, but if you start doing local upscaling events, inviting people, taking their measurements. We didn't talk about measurements. Upscaling, you take a coat and you want to make it into a skirt, who says it will fit my original measurements? So if you start getting a database of names, measurements, people who really are in the community of upscaling, start getting a few designers sitting with sewing machines, scissors, start inviting the people to participate, and then they're starting to tell their friends, maybe then you can start thinking of scaling. The other thing I think, and this, if you make it, you have $1 billion company. Maybe one of the biggest challenges of the industry is inventory. So if, it's a dream, if I can go to H&M and I say, listen, I know you have 10 million shirts and skirts, and all your last collection from 2 years is being thrown away, and now I have this generator who can, I don't know how, but can invent, using AI or whatever, my services can invent a new collections for this, because like H&M started selling second-hand clothes this year, last year. So this would be an amazing thing, because this would be real upscaling, greener for everybody, because inventories, I think it's the biggest trouble, it's the biggest polluter. If you can create new collections from inventory, but collections that will really fit good and look good, this could be an amazing idea. So I don't know if my words were positive or or a little bit harsh, but I think there is an idea because we're talking and thinking about it. So it means something has to be, there is something very interesting there, and I hope you will figure it out. I believe in you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing, and pitching can be stressful, right? But just great job. I want to thank everybody for taking the opportunity to come. Thank the startups for presenting and your inspiring presentations and really trying to make the world a better place, right? So I would love to just finish with the event today by hearing a final round of concluding remarks. We'll start with just hearing from everyone one more time on the board and finish up. And Eli, if you'd like to start this time, final remarks from you, sir.
Yeah, so thank you again for the invitation. It's always, always there's some new things to hear and learn, and from the, other participants. I think all projects that we saw today are relevant. If it's a greener environment, if it's AI generated engines, this is what's going on today in the fashion tech world, and I think all industries are looking into it, which was once very hard to convince. Now everybody wants to look and learn, and corporate innovation is maybe the thing now. So thank you again, and good luck to all the participants. If I can help somebody, you're welcome to write me, and I'll do my best to help you from my experience.
Thank you so much. And Isabelle, from you next.
So yes, thank you so much. It was so great. And yeah, I think especially Katrina, it was your first time pitching. Don't be discouraged, because you were very good for a first time. So I mean, it was just, these are complex matters. Like Eli said, these are all super important. All these solutions that you're working on are critical to the future of the industry. So, it's really great to see that you're working on them. I think that, yeah, I mean, I think likewise, I mean, I'd be very happy to, to sort of, I'm available if anybody wants to reach out and where I can help, super happy to do so. I think when it comes to your, in particular, Katrina, your solution, I think it'd be interesting also when you say B2B, I didn't say this before, but I actually invested in one of the companies I invested in is called 1000 Fell. And it's an American sneaker brand. They started with the white sort of standard sneaker, because that's the one that people change the most in the US. Basically, every 10 days, somebody buys a new pair of plain white sneakers. They just chuck them out. 80 years sit in land, wherever, they're not biodegradable. They figured out how to make a completely recyclable sneaker. And then from there, they developed a B2B proposition, which is a mixture of tech and logistics, which is really all about facilitating take back. So, I think that's something interesting to consider. Yes, it's great to get people to upcycle, but I think it's also, recycle, resale, helping to sort all of that inventory into something that might be either that could be upcycled, that could be recycled, or that could be resold, is something maybe to think about. I don't know, like a proper sort of B2B solution for people, because I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm not as well versed in as Eli and, what's happening in terms of the competition, but I think, sort of facilitating that circularity and maybe for the existing brands, and how that works would be super interesting. Yeah, and that's what I want to say. So thank you very much, and thank you, James.
Thank you, Isabelle. Appreciate the final thoughts, and we'll end with Claire.
Yeah, thank you. So again, both of you, I absolutely applaud what you're doing. Everything that you are doing is very focused on the environment, which we all need to be very focused on, changing the fashion industry, making it more sustainable. James, your presentation was great. I think you're further down the road in terms of your journey. I think you've overcome a lot of the hurdles already. I very much wish you the best. I think really refining slightly how you're differentiated from the competition. And I like your approach that you've looked at all of them and you're trying to take the best from what everybody else is doing. Amazing strategy. So I am just going to look out for you in the future and see how you're just growing and growing from here. And Katrina, again, amazing job on your first presentation. I think you've done really well. Again, huge challenges. So I'm just going to take the opportunity. So something I thought of after I'd finished talking and after I heard Eli was, have you thought about working with dead stock, first of all, like fabrics that designers are not using? So it's going to simplify things for you in the first place. I think trying to really, really simplify your process, you're still really making an environmental difference, but you will have more control before you expand into materials over which you have less control. So just sort of a thought to throw out there for, how to make things easier for yourself. But I think you have great challenges ahead of you, and I mean great in a very positive way. I think you should be really encouraged and approach every day as a new day, and don't give up and don't feel down on the days that are really hard, because you are going to have those. You're trying to accomplish something really big, and keep going and stay focused. And I think you're going to do a great job. So congratulations, both of you. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to be here and connect with all of you. And I hope to have the opportunity to connect again sometime in the near future.
Fantastic.
Thank you everyone so much. I really appreciate everyone coming. Great job to the presenters and the startups, and thank you to the board for your very valuable commentary and remarks and advice. And I just want to thank everyone, and of course let you know the recording will be uploaded to YouTube within a few days. We'll have it available for everyone in a shareable link. Please follow the Startup Club, see our upcoming events and everything that we have organized. It's all available through LinkedIn. And then quick reminder as we wrap up that our next upcoming events, we have one here on May 10th, scheduled for a Food Tech Pitch Night. And then we have a Green Tech Investment Conference here on May 31st. So hope to see everyone there. Thank you again. Please reach out to our wonderful startups independently. You're welcome, and thank you all for the time. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.